Hello guys, this is part 94 of ASP.NET video series. This is continuations to part 93. If you have not watched that, I would strongly encourage you to do so before continuing with this session. In this session, we will discuss about unlocking the logged user accounts. In part 93 of this video series, we discussed about locking users' accounts. If a user repeatedly enters the wrong password, the accounts are basically locked to prevent hackers from guessing passwords and making dictionary attacks. First, let's get the account logged, and then we will discuss about the different approach that we have unlocked the logged user accounts. That we have to unlock the logged user account. So if you remember this in the application that we working with in part 93, and there is a table within the database table. In the database table, within the database TBL user, and then this is logged flag in this table is logged flagged in this table determines whether the account is logged or not. At the moment, this account is not logged. So let's go ahead and enter an invalid username and password 3 times. So I enter the wrong password. Okay. Second time. Third time. And now the account is logged. So obviously, if we go back to the database, look at that, the account is logged. Means if we go back to the account and execute this, so account is logged, and that is the log date time, Okay, now after this, even if I enter correct username and password, I will not be able to logging because my account is currently logged. Means if I go and give the correct password, then look at this. Okay. Because my account is currently locked, so I need to get this account unlocked. Okay. So obviously, to unlock the account, there are different approaches. To unlock the account, there are different approaches. That different organizations follow. It depends on the organization's policy and things like that. So one of the easiest approach is whenever the account is logged, The easiest approach, whenever the account is logged, the end user, the end user calls the technical help desk. The authorized person at the technical help desk will authenticate the user by asking him a simple few questions to make sure that he is the owner of the account. And person after that the authorized person can issue a simple update query like this. Like this. So update TBL user. What is this query doing? It is simply updating is logged to 0, reattempts to null, and log date time to null. Basically, this update query this update query will unlock the user account, but however, look at this. This is a manual query. This is a manual query. The person is running this query manually, so obviously the person is running this query manually. So obviously there are risks. There are risks when we run queries, manually against the production database. First of all, it is not recommended because it is error prone and we may unintentionally modify other rules that we did not intend to update. Just imagine what could happen if you forget to use this where clause. If you forget to use this where clause, because this is being made by a person, on the production database on an ad hoc basis, so it is not recommended to do that. Okay, so that is approach one, but still some organizations follow that. Another approach would be to provide a web pages. Another approach would be to provide a web page that lists all the logged user accounts. Okay, so we will have a web form which lists all the user account that are logged, and then on that web form maybe we'll have a button called enable against every logged user account, and the help desk person can just click that unlocked button and the account will be unlocked. This is not error prone because there is application page which is doing that. The authorized person is not writing the query manually, so that human element of error is not there. But however, this is still a manual process because the person has to unlock each account, okay, depending on how big the application, how many users you have. There might be many calls and you may require more people to unlock the account. So this could be inefficient. Okay, but from implementation perspective, if you look how to write basic edu.net code, this approach should not be very difficult to achieve. But in this session we are going to discuss about approach 3. But in this session we are going to discuss about approach 3. Okay, which is more efficient and which is automated. So basically what we are going to do in this approach 3 is we are going to create a SQL Server job. This job will check this TBL user table. This job will check this TBL user uh, table periodically for the logged user account. For the logged user account. So it is going to scan this table every 30 minutes. So it is going to scan this table every 30 minutes maybe, and then it figures out, okay, if the account is logged, let's say, for example, for more than 24 hours, it will automatically unlock the account. Okay, so let's see how to do that. Now again, the SQL Server job, the frequency at which the job is going to run, it is configurable. Now I am saying it is going to run every 30 minutes, but the uh, organization policy states how, okay, instead of making the job run every 30 seconds, run it every 5 minutes, because we don't want the user accounts to be logged after 24 hours. Okay, again, at what point do we actually want to unlock the user account? That is up to the organization. For example, let's say we have uh, logged a user account, and after that account is logged, how long do we actually want to keep it logged? Is it 10 hours, 20 hours, 24 hours? So organization stays 24 hours. Some organization stays 24 hours. Some organization 48 hours. And that is to prevent hackers from making repeated attempts to break into the system. Okay, so basically some organizations say 24 hours, some organizations 48 hours. For this demonstration purpose, let's stick to 24 hours. And we want to have this job running every 30 minutes. Let's see how to do that. Okay, so first we want to update query. Okay, let's get rid of this. So let's get rid of this query, update query. So I have an update query. So this update query we will use as part of the job. So we will use this as part of the job. Okay, we will use as part of the job. Let's me uncomment this. So I uncommented it. So it is a pretty simple update query. Now what we are basically want to do is we want to check this table, and any account that is logged for more than 24 hours should be automatically unlocked by this job. So and any account that is locked for more than 24 hours should be automatically unlocked by this job. Okay, so this is just an update statement. So what is the update statement doing? So what is this update statement doing? It is updating, retry attempt to null. It is updating to retry attempt to null is logged to 0 and log date time to null. uh, to null. Okay, but then there is a where clause, and then there is a where clause. where is locked is equal to 1. So the accounts should be locked. And then there is another, there is the important condition. So this is what is checking if 24-hour. This is the important condition. 24-hour checking. So this is what is checking if 24 hours have elapsed. 24 hour has elapsed since the account is logged. Since the account is logged, so what are we using for that? We are using a date diff. We are using that date diff function. Now, if you are new to date diff function, we have discussed about date difference in SQL Server video series. So basically, this date diff function is looking at this particular column. This date diff function is looking at this particular column, log date time, and it is comparing difference between when the account is logged, and the current date time when this update query is executed. When this update query is executed, if that difference in hour, if that difference is in hour is greater than 24, go ahead and update that. Okay, so it is as simple as that. Okay, all right. So now instead of running this query, manually every time, what we want to do is we want to schedule this as a part of a job. We want to create a SQL Server job. Okay, so to create a SQL Server job, open SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, I have already opened the SQL Server Management Studio, and within Object Explorer you should see something called SQL Server Agent. So here we have the SQL Server Agent. If the SQL Server Agent is not running, right click on that, click at start. So since I have the SQL Server Agent already running, start is disabled. Okay, but if it is not running on your machine, it would be enabled to click. So click that. After SQL Server Agent is started, let's go ahead and create a job. But before that, I want to tell you that the SQL Server Management Studio is of developer edition, and you will not see this SQL Server Agent in SQL Server Agent Management Studio Express Edition. So please, you should download the developer edition of SQL Server Agent, SQL Server Management Studio. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and create a job. Okay, now you can create a job if SQL Server Agent is not started, but the job will not run. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a job here. So what we need to do, so on this new job, give it a meaningful name for this job. So what is this job is going to do? This job is going to unlock user account. So that is what I am going to name this, unlock user account. So on and I am going, the honor is The honor is whoever you have here. Okay, whoever you have here. And category again, choose a meaningful category. Choose a meaningful category. Give it a meaningful description. And the most important thing is make sure this enabled checkbox is checked. Otherwise, you will be disabled and it will not run. And then the steps. And then the steps. This is the next important step in creating a job. So what do you want your job to do? What are the steps in that job? So click on the new button. So click on to add a job tab, which should bring up a new jobs tab dialog box. Now in this jobs tab, give a meaningful name to your jobs tab. So what is this tab going to do? Is going to execute this update query. Is going to execute this update query. Okay. So I'm going to name that. So execute update query. So I'm going to name that. So execute update query. Okay, and what is this? So what is this step type? So what is the step type? Is it a transact SQL script, or is it some kind of PowerShell script, or is it a replication task, or is it a SQL Server integration, package? There are several things, but it is a simple T-SQL script. So I'm going to select that to keep it as it is. To select that, so I'm going to select that to run against that against that table to run against that against that table DBL users in that database. So I'm going to choose so in that database. So I'm going to choose so keep this run as, leave it blank, and the database here you should select this DBCS3, and then paste your update query here. Means copy this and paste it here. So I copy and paste it here. Okay, so that is the command. Click OK. So we are done with the steps. So we are done with the steps. And the next most important thing is the schedule. So how often do you want this job to run automatically? Where do we define that on the schedule page? So click means go to the schedules. Okay, click new. So how often do you want this job to run automatically? Where do we define that on the schedule page? Schedule page. We are on the schedule page. So give a meaningful name to the job schedule. So this job is going to run every 30 minutes on a daily basis. Means every 30 minutes. 30 minutes on a daily basis. So every 30 minutes daily schedule type, it is recurring. Schedule type, it is recurring. Schedule type is recurring. It is not one-time job. It is recurring job, and it is enabled. And it is enabled. And occurs when does it occurs? And when does it occurs? It occurs daily. It's occur daily and recurs every 1 day and recurs every 1 days. So on a daily basis that is going to happen, and it is occurs every 30 minutes. Means every 30 minutes. So I'm going to say every 30 minutes. Starting at this time. Starting at this time. And ending at this time. So round the clock. It is going to occurs every 30 minutes. Okay. Start date is today. Start date is today. And there is no end date. I can see that I can see there is no end date that I can see. You know, we want to run this forever. Okay, so I click okay. We are done. So we created, you know, the name, and we created the, you know, the name and all that on the journal. We can also configure alerts, notifications. We will talk about them in a later video sessions. They are not relevant for this demo. So I am going to click OK. So that should create a job here. So that should create a job here within SQL Server agent. Close this. Here you can see we have unlock user account job here. Look at that unlock user account. Now let's go ahead and see if that will now go ahead and see if the job has run. Now at the moment you now at the moment we have scheduled it to run every 30 minutes, so we cannot wait for 30 minutes. So what is I'm going to do is I'm going to change this schedule basically to run forever for every 1 minute, for the time being. So I want this to run every 1 minute. So let's click OK. Means if you go here, go to the property, schedules, double click at here and make it 1 minute. Okay, click OK. Okay, and now the job should run every 1 minute. So if we wait for a minute, the job is going to automatically run. But then this record will not be updated. Why? Because it is not greater than 24 because it is not greater than for 24 hours. Look at this. I run this update query. If I run this update query, zero rows affected. Why? Because this account is just logged. This account is just logged. So until tomorrow this time, it is not going to get unlocked. So let's go ahead and change the time, the log date time manually. So update. So that table we want to update. So update that table we want to update. So copy this and paste it here. So that table we want to update, TBL users. Set log date time is equal to copy this, means copy this and paste it here. And change it to yesterday, and change it to yesterday or day before yesterday, so that it gets unlocked immediately. Means one Okay, so that it gets unlocked immediately when the job runs. Okay, so let's me update that. There is only one row. There is only one row, so I am not using where clause. So that updated. So there is only one row, so I am not using where clause. So let me execute that and let's select now. Let's select now. Look at it is day before yesterday, so it is definitely greater than. Let's select it. Look at that. It is day. It is. What happened to it? I made it change it here. I made it one. Then what happened to it? So look at that. It is day before yesterday, so it is definitely greater than 24 hour. So if we wait for next 1 minute, you know it the job will pick it up, pick it that up only any minute, and then basically unlock that. Basically unlock that. It is it will set retry to it is it will set retry to null is locked to 0 and lock time to null. Okay, look at that. It look at that. If I run this query, look at that. It has done. It has gone. So we did not do the update manually. Now this job is going to run every 1 minute. Now because we configured it to run, but in production we don't have to run it every 1 minute. Maybe every 15 minute or half an hour. So if you look at this job, right click on the job and say history. So it is going, it has run once 39, 339 and 341. So it is going to, run every minute. Okay. That's it for today. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. We have showed you unlocking the account. Okay. As you can see here. Thank you guys.